Welcome back to Pawplexity, a podcast about how living with dogs
and cats
keeps rewriting the way we live, we think, and we try to figure things out. One German,
one Brit,
and one American.
3 very different dogs, and 3 lives forever changed by them. We met on the Isle of Dogs in London, and we've kept talking ever since about behavior, instincts, heartbreak, hilarity, and all the beautiful chaos that comes with sharing your life with a pet. I'm Annika, and today we're talking about something most of us do regularly and still don't feel great about: leaving your dog alone. It's one of the first things we have to learn as parents, and for a lot of us, it never really becomes unemotional or easy. Bruce and Ben are here with me today to talk about what this actually looks like in their daily lives. Hi Bruce, hi Ben.
Hiya.
Hello everybody, thanks for listening.
Let's start with the moment right before you leave. So I don't know why that moment carries so much weight for me, but Makenzie always knows when she's going to be left alone, and it's very difficult. How is it in your household?
Still difficult for me, to be honest. Bowie's got a place to stay now. I mean, he stays with my parents quite a lot when I'm at work, and I do sort of weekend trips to London. But yeah, he's very aware of when he's coming with me and when he's not. He's got a couple of keywords. See, a bit easier now than when it was.
How do you do that with a keyword? So he knows you say one word and then he knows he's not coming and he's okay?
Yes, if I say I'll see you soon, it means I'm going for a while, maybe a few days. If I say I won't be long, it means I'll be back in a few hours. But if I say, "Oh, are you coming with Daddy?" He knows he's coming. He knows he's coming with me. So there's three different scenarios. Which if I say I won't be long, he'll be fine. He'll go and sit up on the ledge and look out the window until I'm back. If I say soon, he'll go and hide under the sofa. Yeah. And obviously, if I say you're coming with Daddy, then he gets a bit more happy.
So how long did it take him to understand that, or how long did it take you to understand that he understands?
Honestly, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Like, the word soon resonates with him for some reason. He knows that it's going to be like a few days. I don't know, maybe in the last sort of couple of years he's latched on because my trips have become a bit more frequent. So yeah, it's more of he knows that routine, he knows those words now, and yeah, he knows what to expect. But he's happy here regardless. It's that initial, right, Dad's going for a couple of days, I need to get over it.
Yeah, he has cousins around him, right? So furry cousins,
yeah,
so he's happy and he's occupied. Yeah.
Got plenty of dogs here.
That's different here. How is it with you, Bruce?
Yeah, so Judge, he knows when I'm leaving for sure. I sometimes take him, but not as often probably as you, Ben. But we always left him home from the start. We crate trained him, and it was pre-COVID, so we both worked. So he was always used to kind of being home. And the main thing is he just tries to get out. That's the big thing. He does know some keywords, like if I say, "Do you want to come?" He'll know, and like then he'll get all excited. But that's I guess the only keyword to when I leave that he knows. Didn't
you say something about family walks, that he knows that all of you go together? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it's still a thing. If we say, "Do you want to go on a family walk?" he gets all excited, and he starts wagging his tail. So yeah, I guess there's a few keywords. Yeah, and it's not like, I agree, Ben. Like, it's not like I tried to train him on that. He just picked up on it. So it's interesting how they pick up on some words and they know what they mean.
As for Makenzie, she doesn't like to go outside, but then when she's outside, she doesn't like to go inside. She's a weirdo in that sense. And then in the evening, we ask her, like, "Do you want to go pee?" Which in German we use like a cute word, which is pischern. And whenever we ask, like, "Do you want to go pee?" and she's like, "No," and then she hides under the bed. But so that she knows.
Yeah. Judge never hides. He's always ready to go. He's always excited. The biggest thing with me is I have to try to like block him from getting out. So, if Tatiana and I are both leaving, I let her go first, and then I play goalie. I'm like, stay, and then if I'm by myself, I just back out of the apartment, and I'm behind first. So anyone walking down the hallway, it's kind of awkward.
Is Max picking up the habit?
Max, when we leave, we keep him in like a playpen. Mm-hmm. So because he's not getting the fact that he can't just pee wherever he wants to. So we have a diaper on him, and we keep him in the playpen. Yeah, still. We have the mats. He does well. Like he's marking. So I think once we get him neutered, it'll be better.
Yeah. How is it for Ken's?
The leaving?
Yeah.
Well, it really depends. For her, so we need to meet all her needs. So she needs to have a proper walk, proper food, like proper rest time. When we leave before the proper rest time, she usually is anxious and then she doesn't want to come. But if it really is weird about timing. Human baby parents have that a lot. When you want to go out with a new human baby parent, they're always like, I don't know if it works, if it meets the cycle. And I think it's the same with me leaving her. Because if she's too hungry or not rested enough or she doesn't feel well, she does want to come and then she sneaks outside the door. And then she's in the hallway having an angry zoomie.
Yep.
And then
angry zoomie. I've never had an angry zoomie.
But she has angry zoomies and zoomies. Physically, her body language, I think, is pretty similar. It will sound weird. Her face is just more tense, and she's a bit more aggressive. So she's not like snapping or anything, but she tries to physically to body slam you a bit more. Like a happy zoomie is just running around in the snow and the sand wherever, and when she's like an upset zoomie, she really is targeting you a bit more. And she is the most wonderful dog, but she makes her opinions heard, which is fair.
Body slams.
Yeah, she does. Usually I tell her we're about to go, but when I'm already anxious, thinking oh my god, this is going to be long, or I'm not ready to leave her, she picks up again as usual. She mirrors me. She picks up my anxiety, I think, and then she's like, "Ooh, I'm not ready to stay alone, and this time I get you to stay here." Yeah. And usually when we leave, both of us, I go first, and then Tobias, because he's never that flustered. So when he leaves, she's always fine.
That's why Tatiana goes first.
Yeah.
Because she's always not paying attention, opens the door, Judge runs out. So I gotta
Does he come
first.
back in is the question.
He'll come back sometimes. So another word that he is very well associated with is cupcake kisses. And those are his dental doggy treats. So if you say that, he'll come running back in. If you say, "Do you want a cupcake kiss?" I have to be quiet because he could probably hear me.
Does he actually get one? Then?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Then I have to give him one. If I stopped giving him, then he wouldn't come in.
But then can you leave while he chews it? Because Makenzie would pick up even on that step. Okay, I get the cupcake thing, but you're still leaving, so she will pick up on that and then not fall for it ever again.
No. He loves them so much. He'll take it. He runs inside, and then I can go out easily.
He's so lovely.
Yeah, and then it's he eats them pretty quickly. It's not like one of the hard chews. It's kind of, I don't even know what they are, but they're like crack for dogs, I feel, because Judge and Max love them both. They go crazy for the second I open the treat cabinet, they're running up to me. They know exactly what's in there.
Easy. Did you guys do it from did you guys leave them from puppies though? I found it much harder when he was a puppy to do it. When you're supposed
it was hard. It was hard, but we had to because we both had work. So it was kind of that was just the reality of the situation. It was pre-COVID, so none of this work from home stuff.
Right.
That wasn't a thing yet. I think now it would be harder if we had him during COVID and then all of a sudden had to go back to work. Yeah. That would be harder. Because I think a lot of people, unfortunately, did get dogs or a pet during that time period, and they never had to leave. And then all of a sudden, when the world got back to normal, people realized, oh, I can't have this pet anymore, dog, cat, whatever it was, and had to give it up.
Which has been me.
Yeah. So we didn't give them up.
No, we didn't. Never.
Yeah. Never. No, I found it, because like you said, well, both of us got our dogs in COVID, and so he was just so used to having us around. So even when those little trips when you go out to the grocery store and you go and get your groceries. I remember being with my partner at the time. I was just sort of in the grocery trying to hurry her up, and I was like, "Come on!" It's just we've been 15 minutes, and I'm like, "Drag on!" Just the thought of him being alone was really hard for me. But it's just I found it really difficult. More my issue than his issue.
I was just wondering about that because I think it's a human issue and the dog just picks up on it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they need to learn and you need some patience to teach them. And it's not a natural state for a dog to be alone because they are just not self-sufficient in that way.
So that's the part we got the Furbo camera, so we could watch him. And I have to say, I do love it. I use it all the time, but it does give you more anxiety because when I turn it on, I see him and I can hear him barking, and it kind of gives me anxiety that my neighbors hear him, everyone's gonna complain about us, or he's just that miserable that we're gone, and it kind of breaks your heart a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I remember, I think we got it in London. We might have gotten it in the U.S. before, right before we moved. But I remember one time I had just hooked it up, and we went out somewhere, and I looked at it, and I literally went back home. I was like, we have to go home. He's still barking. It's been 5 minutes. He's still barking, and we went back to the apartment. And like Tatiana was like, we're never going to be able to do anything anymore. So
What?
it definitely does give, I feel like it gives me anxiety. But Furbo, if you want to sponsor us, it'd be great.
Definitely. I'm a huge fan of Furbo. Not of the new AI tools because they are confusing. But the Furbo really was a game changer for us. Or for me.
Yeah, and like I could give him treats and stuff through the thing, so, and I could talk to him and I could calm him down a little bit. He still barks, but it is a very cool tool to have.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I remember seeing Neil's anecdote. Actually, it looked quite cool. I did get myself a little camera and set it up, and I remember being at the. I've only used it once, and I won't use it again because, like you said, I was just terrible. I was in the cinema and I was like looking, and I was like, look, you know, when you're in the cinema and you can't use your phone, I'm just looking there down at the movie, down at my phone, and I'm like, oh, what's he doing? But he was fine. He was just chilling. He was just walking from my room to the sofa and just sort of lounging around. He wasn't barking. He wasn't crying.
Did it make it better for you?
No, it made it worse. I was just sort of like, I was just like, just seeing him pace. I think the pacing, okay. I was like, why is he pacing? Yeah. Why isn't he settled? Why? So yeah, I was just, I don't look anymore. I mean, I do leave him now for like up to 3 hours. That's sort of my limit. But he's got.
Is that like your limit, or is that how long he can go without like peeing or something?
Oh no, he would go 5-6 hours without peeing.
Yeah, that's our limit is like I like to be home in 4 hours, but like in reality he could get to probably about 5 before he would start to pace because he's got to go out.
I mean, they go out I take Bowie out at 8 o'clock at night, and he doesn't get up till 7 o'clock the next morning. So they can go for a long time without a pee and a poo.
Yeah. If they're sleeping, if he's sleeping, he'll make it that long. But when he's up, he often, like, I walk him around like 7 or 8 in the morning, depending on the morning.
Yeah.
And then I usually walk him at 10 or 11 at night, like right before I go to bed. And so he doesn't have that 12-hour period, but he can definitely make it. Because sometimes I won't, like if it's the weekend, I'll just kind of stay in bed, and he'll just stay there with me. But during the day, I usually walk him like 4 to 5 times a day.
Yeah, he's got some energy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to go out, and especially now it's super cold out. Yeah. This might be a little too cold for him, but he loves the cold.
Oh, sled dog, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All of them.
Like here I am thinking I'm freezing, I got to get back inside, and he's like,
no.
He wants to go to. The dog park is another trigger word for him. He knows that one too, and he wants to he's pulling me to the dog park, and I'm like, dude, it's very cold. It's below 0.
Makenzie goes out for snow. If we say the German word for snow, she goes up to the window to verify it's actually snowing, and then
she doesn't believe you.
Yeah, because we did try. We kind of try to stretch the truth every now and then to convince her to do certain things. But snow, she verifies, and then when she's satisfied with the, I guess, size of the snowflakes, she's ready to go out, and then she's happy. But with the camera, Ben, I feel like because Makenzie, when she's settled, it is the most satisfying feeling in the world to watch every now and then on the Furbo. That she's like fine and settled and sleeping somewhere. The best Furbo view for me is when she's not in sight, because that means she's somewhere in the bed or on the couch, not by the door, and she's not barking. Yeah. So that if you get to that stage, the camera is really, really worth it. But to watch them like bark or be unhappy or pacing or not settling, that is heartbreaking, really.
I think it's rare that he does that anymore. He used to, when I used to go to the gym for an hour, I used to like leave the apartment, I used to hear him straight at the door barking. He hasn't done that for maybe a year or so now. But yeah, I think he's getting used to it now, because I'm back home and I'm commuting. I'm going up to London 2 nights a week. He's now getting into routine of not seeing me for those 2 days, so he's sort of like getting easier and getting easier. So,
yeah, they definitely get used to stuff.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that was hard with Judge, because since we got him pre-COVID, he was used to us leaving, and then all of a sudden we were home, and then I think
were the way around, didn't you?
Yeah, we were around all the time, and so now I feel like he did kind of start to develop like separation anxiety, and then when we moved to London, I didn't work for 4 or 5 months, so I was always home, and then I think he started to get attached more so. And also when we had our house, we had the couch by the window, so he was able to hop up and look out the window, and just that's where he would be. He would lay up there. He basically he looked almost like a cat would lay in the windowsill, and so that's where he would be. Like as I would come home, I would see him sitting up there, and like he'd start to get like he knew. I don't know how he knew, but he knew when my father-in-law was coming. All of a sudden, he would jump up on the thing, and my father-in-law would pull into the driveway. Same with they are so small. I don't know if it was like some kind of noise that it made, but it was far away, and I would know that he's about to come home. But yeah, I loved like seeing him up there when I would pull into the driveway. It was because then he would get all happy when he saw the car.
Nothing more satisfying than seeing the dog sit at a window when you pull up, and they just know it's you, and you can see the little happiness on their
Exactly. He knows that. Oh, yep, Daddy's home. We're gonna have some fun now. I'm gonna get some attention and scratches.
This is the best day ever.
Yes. Yeah, in our apartment, we have all these windows, but for some reason, he sits on the coffee table and he stares at the door.
On the coffee table?
Yeah, on the coffee table. He jumps up onto the coffee table, and it's actually glass, which kind of makes me nervous, but hasn't broke yet, so I think we're good. But he gets little paw prints on it, so I can never have like a clean coffee table. It's got all paw prints.
No, that's his coffee table. It's not your coffee table.
Yeah, it's his coffee table.
Yeah, it's his.
But isn't the couch more comfortable for him? That's a weird choice.
It's weird. I don't know when he started doing it. Like, well, no, he did it. He did it in London. He sat on that. He would get on that marble coffee table that we had in Sailmakers.
It's the cold.
I think it's the coldness. He likes the cold.
Yeah, and Bowie used to sit on a. We had one of those glass, like one of those like glass side tables that like slip under the sofa.
Yeah.
Bowie used to sit. He used to sit on that glass table looking out over the street.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't used to sit on the couch. And again, like probably the same thing as Josh. Likes that cold feeling of the glass. But yeah,
when he wants to sleep, he'll go on the couch.
Yeah. When he wants to
like I'll turn on the camera and I'll see him on the couch sometimes, but that's when he's sleeping. But when he's like still anxious that we're not home, he's on the coffee table staring at the door, and that's where he barks from. So he'll stand up on the coffee table. I have pictures of it.
Oh my god!
You have to share them.
Yeah. But it's hard, isn't it? Because when you're going through that stage of like starting to leave them on their own. I mean, I spoke to a trainer when he was a puppy, and they're like, go out, like we discussed before. It's about leaving them for little increments at a time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And like when you come back, you don't reward, you don't get excited. You just because it excites them. You need to go in and just not act like you've been away and just walk in, don't celebrate. That's the hardest thing for me.
That's so hard.
You want to come in and be like, hello, you want to like give them the little give them a little hug, and I still do now. That's one thing I never did. I never did that.
It's the same.
I think that so they always say the experts always say that dogs don't have a concept of time. I think they're wrong.
I agree.
I think that they can tell.
They know when breakfast is and they know when dinner is. They know
exactly.
They come up to you at breakfast time. They come up to you at dinner time.
Yep.
Like, how do they know that?
Yeah. So I think they understand, like, if you're going... Well, like you said before, you have the different time frame trigger words.
Yeah.
And so he clearly knows that if it's going to be a couple of hours versus a couple of days. He knows.
He knows.
Yeah. And for Makenzie, it's like 4 hours she can do, but at 4 hours every single time she gets a bit more like, okay, it's time that you come back.
Yeah.
So she does have a concept of what is too long, which is always around the 4 hour period. So they do have a concept of time, I think.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you do get smarter breeds, I guess. Maybe the smarter breeds have more of a concept, but I don't know.
Of course, our dogs are all geniuses.
They are, but
they are.
We do have to have an entire episode because there are so many concepts of intelligence and smartness around dogs, and I do want to advocate for those that we may not consider smart. They have a different kind of smart.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't consider Max smart.
No. Oh, I think he is.
But I have to say, it's our fault.
Course.
It's our fault. We haven't been training him as much as we did with Judge. But it's just because he's so hard. Every time when we let him out of the pen, he just runs around like a crazy man because he's got so much energy.
He's still a puppy. There's too much things in his brain. The energy needs to come out somewhere, right? Going back to the time, have you actually, when you trained Bowie with the leaving alone, have you tried with these increments of time, like 5 minutes, 3 minutes?
Initially, when he was a puppy, but now I'm so aware of like when it gets past an hour, I start getting anxious myself. So
I love that.
Not anymore, but I still do a little bit. But he's got a place to be now with some friends, so he's I get a little bit less stressed.
I'm like you, Ben. So every time I just turn around, I'm anxious. I can't leave her. It wasn't one of the things that we started training with. We had a trainer, but we had so many other things to look out for. So we didn't really think about leaving her alone because COVID and who thinks ahead. And then, which is also why we didn't crate train her, because who thinks ahead? Why everybody should. But now I have a different opinion. But back then it was just like, yeah, let's focus on the things that are more important right now. And then we didn't leave her alone. And then we moved to London when she was 11 months. And all of a sudden, it was like, well, now you need to stay alone. And then we met Kasha, who was like, why haven't you trained with her? She's 11 months. She should be able to cope. And I was like, well, we just arrived. We've only been here for 3 weeks, so we need to settle. She's like, no, second day, you leave her alone. This is wrong. And then at one point, we just started to train, and it was just a disaster because we just stood outside the door, which is what I think is a mistake because she could still smell us and hear us. So she was upset. And then we sat down in the hallway, which I think went better and better. But we had like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It didn't really go anywhere. And then we stopped training. And then at one point, because Tobias is the less emotional part in this relationship, he was just like, let's just go for a walk. We try, let's just do it. Let's just leave her. Let's just try. And then in that moment, we were out for 2 hours because she was absolutely happy, fine, like settled. We had like a blanket by the door. She was by the door, but she was like on her side, super relaxed. And from that day on, it was fine. But she was like more than 2 years old by that time. And all the training, it did build up in her, but she always needs like a month or two to really, I think it through, maybe feel it through. And then all of a sudden it clicks and things are okay. And every single thing that she learned that way. The moment I gave up and I just like ignored it for half a year, and all of a sudden she can do it. It's so weird.
I remember when you were doing the trying to leave her alone thing.
Yes, we met in the hallway so many times. It was like with the camera, like, no, she's crying.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's so hard. That was probably the hardest thing about the training and stuff. The leaving him part was just the worst. You can do everything else. That separation when you get so attached to your dog is Did you ever have to leave them in a moment where you were super worried? So did you recognize the difference in them when you leave? And you can't really not leave. I mean, when we had to leave him, when I got him shipped back to the UK, that was the worst day ever. Like, we had to take, and he was only 5 months old, so he was still just this little puppy, this innocent puppy.
5 months.
And he was like, we met the guy downstairs, and he had a big fan. I gave Bowie to him, and he got put into the back of his van to this crate, and he just stared at me like this, and was just so frightened. And I was like, oh fucking hell. Yeah, it was just really difficult because I was like, I'm not going to see him for 2 days.
But did you train in the crate? So was he traveling in the crate that you trained? Oh, yeah, well.
He was crate trained, so I knew, and he had a couple of items of our clothing, so...
Yeah.
He had,
you were allowed to give that to him, because we weren't.
Yeah, he could have one bit of clothing, so he had a t-shirt, I think.
Yeah, that would have freaked me out.
It was just awful, and I was like, he hasn't been away from us for...
More than 5 minutes.
More than 5 minutes. So now it's 2 days of him. But then like, he's just so good with people and adapting to a situation. Like the guy would send me photos of him in the office, just chilling on the floor with all the people in the office. I'm like, okay, he's happy. Like he's in his element. He's getting lots of attention. But yeah, that was tough because I had no choice but to leave him.
I feel like you are always the more emotional element in that regard.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Oh yeah. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
So he isn't, because as long as he's happy with people, he doesn't seem to be bothered.
Yeah. Like he's if he's with someone, he's still an underlying like, oh god, I wish my dad was here kind of thing. But if he's with people and he's always with dogs, he's happy because he's he likes to think of himself as in charge. He's the one. He's a big boy, so it's me. I'm the problem.
Yes, I figured.
I'm the problem. So
we need a trainer for you and for me.
Yes, we do.
How's it with 4 kids, I want to say, because now it's 4.
Yeah.
Nipsey, Patches, Max, and Judge.
So we haven't really done much traveling since we've had the 4 of them. But the first time we ever left him for like days at a time was when we were in London. And that was hard because I was freaking out. I didn't want to trust anybody. We had some recommendations for like dog sitters, and of course we had to leave our list. But yeah, that was the hardest part. When I leave during the day, I know I'm coming back. Like I know he'll be okay, so it doesn't really give me too much anxiety. I know for him, he definitely stresses out, but there's nothing I can do about it. So he's just got to deal with it.
How was that? Because in the beginning you said he crate trained, so he was quite happy at home. But when we go pre-COVID is something that I can't even imagine. So how did you train him to be happy with that?
We just put him in the crate. We did what we were supposed to do. Keep, when we were home, he was still in the crate. Things like that. So he got really comfortable. The reason why it freaked me out when he would bark when we moved to London was because we were in an apartment building. Mm-hmm. So like we had a house in the U.S. before we moved. So if he barked, it was not going to disrupt anybody. I didn't want to be kicked out. Like we had just moved into Sailmakers and he's going crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to kick us out. He is a service dog. He's like a legit service dog. Technically, he's supposed to be well trained, which he is, but when you leave, it's like all bets are off. Like he does what he's supposed to do, but then when we leave him home, he wants to come out. So that was why I got freaked out and went home, because I was like, oh my God, we're gonna get kicked out. And then but like I said, once people weren't complaining, I was like, all right, we could leave him more often. And he doesn't bark the entire time. He eventually calms down. Yeah, no one really ever complained, so I was okay with that. And then it's the same here where we are. It's like I get nervous because I don't want anyone complaining, but I do get like some comfort because so many people have dogs now, and that like I think people just understand. It's like, all right, I know it's annoying, but I don't think they could hear too much, or else they would be complaining, Yeah,
but especially in a dog-friendly building, you would just expect.
The dog's not going to bark for the full 3 hours while you're away, is it? It's going to be like...
Yeah, then you wouldn't... Really? No, but you would come back, wouldn't you?
Well, so that's why I don't look at this Furbo that much anymore.
God.
Last night we went out to dinner and I checked it. Every time I checked it, within 2 seconds I heard a bark. But we were only gone for like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it wasn't that long. So usually he gets tired after a little while. And then he'll go to the couch. He'll be like, all right, they're obviously not listening to me. So then he'll go to the couch and he'll lay down.
But was it only Judge, or did you hear Max as well?
So last night I only heard Judge, but they usually both bark together. And Max's bark is actually louder than Judge's. I know, but it's more annoying. And it's like a higher pitch and it's louder.
Do you think Max will forever be in the playpen when you leave, or are you going to train him?
I mean, he's still fairly young. I mean, he's like 7 months old. Like he's still a puppy. Like, he's not. I just think that I have to do a better job training him. The thing is, we started off bringing. I don't like the wee pad thing, but he needed to do it because it is so cold outside. I don't think I could take him outside. He's too small. He's short hair, so he doesn't have like that coat. Like Judge has the double coat, so we had to kind of do the wee pad training. Yeah. So he goes on it for the most part, but he's still marking, and that's what I have to figure out. So any suggestions from everybody out there, you could leave it in the comments.
Send them in. But also I feel like he has a tiny bladder because his body is so small. So maybe he can't really hold it.
And I think the second he feels like he's got to go, he goes. And so as he gets older and he gets a little bit more comfortable with that, I think it'll get better with time.
A friend of mine has a toy poodle. She's the cutest, but she's tiny. I don't even know if it's a toy poodle or something even smaller. But her bladder is so small that during the night she has to pee because she cannot hold.
Yeah, I've been waking up at like 2 a.m. and I put him on his mat. And because he has had an accident on the bed. So now I'm just paranoid.
So Bruce, you shared already that London, you left him less alone. So that kind of changed your perception of how you leave him alone, how you feel. So I feel like in London you were maybe more emotional as compared to before.
Probably, because like I said, I with COVID, I started to stay more with him.
Yeah.
So it was harder to leave him. When we first got him, I would put him in the crate and, like I would think about it, but I also knew Tatiana was coming home to, to like walk him and, so he wasn't totally alone. And then we had like my in-laws moved in for a little bit, so they would be there with him. So it wasn't horrible. Like London, it was just us, so the only time that he went out, like Cassia, we also used her so she would walk him, and so that was always fun because he got to go on his little walks. But other than really her, that was the only relief that we had. So I was just always with him.
You had a walker as well, didn't you, Annika?
Yeah, Kasha.
Yeah,
amazing, best time. But did it for you, Ben, did it change, like moving countries, did it change anything for
I guess because
you?
I was on my own, that was harder, because I guess there was always two of us when he was in Canada, so it was kind of like give and take. And, you know, if I wanted to go out and spend a couple of hours with a friend or something, then I could do that and not worry. Whereas now it's sort of like, is there anyone around, or do I have to leave him on his own? So yeah, it's harder when you're on your own without a second pair of hands.
That was the nice thing about London. It's like, if I wanted to take him to a pub, it was fine. Like over here, it's not that easy. And on top of it, you know, I just took the train everywhere in London, so I could, you know, take the train, go get a pint, don't have to worry about driving, and bring him with me. You know, over here, it's like I don't take him anywhere because it's just not as dog friendly.
Yeah, I mean, living where we lived was really helpful in London.
Yeah, it was the best.
Met so many different friends, so everyone was like, I had so many offers about when I was going to the office, you know, oh, leave Bowie with me.
And they were all genuine.
Yeah, they were all genuine. Like they were like, oh, I hated to do that, but I used to get messages from people saying, oh, do you want to leave Bowie with us there if you go into the office? Rather than me reaching out.
Remember that.
Did Bowie ever have a sleepover at yours?
Yes.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
While you were at a Christmas party.
That's
I'm
right.
not sure if you want to share any details.
He did all right though, didn't he? He was fine.
He was lovely. He was on the bed. Makenzie, surprisingly, she was fine as well. So he was a bit anxious because I think he didn't understand. Maybe you just told him that you're going to pick him up in a couple of hours, and he wasn't really prepared.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, when we were in bed, he was fine. He just jumped on, and then we cuddled all night, and he was absolutely fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's how Judge is. Like when we had the dog sitter, he was like, then it's fine that I'm gone. It's not that he misses me. He just doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
So I'll get that straightened out. It's not that he's actually missing, you know, me or Tatiana. As long as he's got attention, he's okay. So yeah, he slept. We told the dog sitters, we're like, the only thing is he's gonna want to sleep with you. And I'm like, you know, he's a very good cuddler, so just let him on the bed and let him sleep with you, and everything will be fine. And they all did. They sent pictures and stuff.
I think for Makenzie it's the other way around. She does like attention and she does like people to come over, but then she wants her own space. Because we tried so many ways, like bring her somewhere, have somebody in our place, and whenever it's like getting ready for the night, she just refuses. She's just like, when you get ready for bed, you're not my mom, you're not my dad, you're not sleeping here. This is not where you belong, go away. So it is very clear that it's uncomfortable for both of them. But even she, when we have to leave her alone, I think she prefers to be in her own home, alone, rather than having somebody there who's just like in her space, no matter how much she loves them. I remember having brought her over to Santi and Crystal's, because I was going out with Tatiana and Crystal, and I'm like, okay, because it was supposed to be a bit longer, so 4 to 5 hours, and I felt like, well, she loves the dragons, loves Santi, why not? And after 2 hours, he was texting like, can you come home? Because she's not happy. She doesn't like to be here. And alone, she's quite okay. Again, as we said, when we have met all her needs, she can be, the max we did was 5 hours, and I don't like it, so I get anxious after an hour. But I think 4 hours is every now and then we can do, and it should be doable even for them, even though they are not made to be alone. But I think it's feasible if it's not like an everyday thing for more than 4 hours.
Yeah, 100%.
A friend of mine, she's sharing her dog with her ex-fiancé. So they lived together, had the dog for many years, and then they split up. So they're now sharing the dog. Lisa is her name. She's 1 week with her, 1 week with him, and they figured out like a really
Custody agreement.
A really good amicable agreement. They have the keys to each other's houses, so they spend time together, all of that. But at one point, it was so funny because she just like, well, I forgot that he didn't pick her up that day, so I went to work thinking that Lisa would be picked up during the day, and then at the end of the work day, she was like going out with a friend, everything's planned and set up, and at the end of the work day, she was like, oh my god, I forgot the dog. Oh my god, and she's at home all alone, she must be angry, anxious, everything, so she just like left everything, went home, didn't have a camera, went home like crying, super exhausted and like embarrassed, opened the door, and the dog was like on the couch, super relaxed, absolutely happy, like don't worry about it, I'm fine, which is amazing. It was a long day, and I feel if you get to that stage where the dog is more relaxed than you are, that's like quite an achievement.
Yeah, the biggest worry that I have when I'm out is, so he's kind of mischievous, and when we were still in our house, Tatiana came home one day from work to you know, take him out and make sure he's okay, whatever, and at that time he was out of the crate. And so Tatiana saw this fluffy stuffing all over the place. And she's like, she couldn't see where it was from. It looked like he chewed open a toy or something. And he was laying on the bed and he put his feet like this.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden Tatiana moves him and he had eaten a hole in the couch. And he
No.
And he covered it up. Like, it was crazy.
Oh my God.
He knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
And so he covered it up. She took video of it. I have the video of it. And so, like, he gets himself in trouble. And now that we have the cat, Nipsey, she'll knock stuff over. So even if I put it, out of his reach, she'll knock it over and he gets to it. So now I have to really, pet-proof everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
But they work so well together.
They do.
Jesus.
They do. And Max and Nipsey really... They're a good duo. They love playing. They wrestle.
Bowie did something similar with a mesh crate, one of those with the softer stuff.
Yeah.
And that was early days when we were leaving him for 10-20 minutes. So it was 20 minutes. Went to the grocery store, came back, and he was in his mesh crate. I opened the front door and he was just sat right in front of me with a big smile on his face, like wagging his tail, like. And I'm like, oh my God, just the hole in the mesh crate.
Chewed right through it.
Right through it. So proud of himself. And I'm like, cool.
We'll never do
Well,
that
at least
again.
it was just a mesh crate. He ruined the whole
Wasn't a
couch.
sofa, yeah.
I was like, this
It
is
was
an expensive
impressive.
chew toy.
Yeah.
Apart from the mesh toys, is there anything that you would do very differently now with all of that experience and time that has gone by if you had to start again?
I definitely get used to leaving them from an early age and just going to do my own thing for like an hour or so. And just getting
But could you, though?
I think so because I think it's so important. Like knowing the things that it hinders me from doing now. Because I still get anxious, so like I can't go out for a few hours.
Yeah.
Because unless he's with someone, I just get too anxious. I think that having trained the dog to have that sort of independence is so important.
Yeah.
Because it frees you up a little bit more. My life is sort of dictated about who's going to be with Bowie. Is he going to be okay? I think that's a good thing because it's a good good dog parenting, but.
Yeah.
You still need to live at the end of the day, don't you?
Yeah, you need a bit of mental freedom to just like recharge because caregiving like around the clock isn't easy.
No.
Even though it's like if it's a fun floofball, you still have all that responsibility. Yeah.
And what about you?
Me, I wouldn't do anything different. My life is perfect. No, I agree. I think I would do without a lot of these things that people tell you to do, like the basic obedience, which is obviously important, but I would work much earlier on the boundaries, which also includes like giving them the security to understand better, make good decisions, and absolutely leaving them alone for a bit is absolutely important. So I would start much earlier and not make it such a happening, and just like even understanding that your emotional state has such an impact on them when you leave. If I had known that, I think we would have gotten there much faster.
What about you, Bruce?
Yeah, I think with Judge, I think everything we did was pretty much spot on. Again, we left him because we had to. It was pre-COVID and we worked. So I think he got fairly comfortable, especially in his crate. I mean, he's sitting in his crate right now, so it's just where he goes to when he wants to lay down. That made us able to at least somewhat live our lives. Obviously, we have a time frame. Like I said earlier, I try not to do more than 4, but like he could extend it to 5 hours. So it's not like we could, just pick up and leave for the day, and completely leave him. But for the most part, if we want to go out to dinner or lunch or whatever, brunch, we do it. There's nothing that's holding us back in terms of that. And we're doing basically the same thing with Max. He's just a little bit younger and we got a little more ways to go with him. Yeah. And then the cats are easy. That's the one thing with cats you don't have to worry about. You put out, they have they're much more independent.
And cleaner.
Yeah.
So they don't mind. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know about that, but they say it. But they lick themselves and that's how they. So I mean, if you lick yourself, are you clean? It's like we take showers at least.
True. Let's investigate.
Yeah.
Let's park that for another.
They say they have an enzyme that like it breaks down, and so it is kind of clean. But yeah, I don't know.
Have that as well.
Yeah, dogs do that too. Yeah.
Okay, for this episode we want to do another book tip, going back to leaving your dog alone. And this one is a book called Be Right Back by Julie Naismith. She's a certified dog trainer and behavior specialist, and her work focuses almost entirely on dogs who struggle with being left alone. And she also hosts a podcast on the same topic, which is super interesting to listen to. What I like about this book is that it takes the experience seriously without turning it into blame, because mostly it's about like blaming the human not being able to train the dog or the dog not being able to cope. So, and she takes the blame out of it and explains it in really small portions that you can digest and just go with. So, and even if separation anxiety isn't something you're dealing with, the book still helps to understand why leaving can feel very heavy, which Ben and I can explain in more detail as well. Bruce has managed better. It's a very good book to read, and if you have any thoughts on that, please share.
Yeah, any stories that any of you guys have about leaving your dogs alone, any anecdotes, hit us up, let us know. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah, you can message us, you can comment, or you can share your experience with us wherever you're listening to your podcast. So this is Pawplexity, and today we talked about leaving your dog alone. We'll be back next time with another everyday moment that turns out to be more complicated than it looks. And thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Ben, for sharing all your stories.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to pick up after your pet.